Welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great video here on the Savior channel. Now, to all the fellow gamers out there, let me just ask you something, okay? But first, before I do, let me just load up my 1911. Because I'm pretty sure after I tell you this, I'm gonna have to blow my brains out. Because first, let me just ask you, okay? All you fellow gamers out there, okay? What do you call a Minecraft celebration? Would you care to take a guess? Let me tell you, a block party. That's right, my sinners, a block party. I'm full of fresh and original ideas and fresh content here on this channel. So, welcome back, my beautiful sinners, to another great video here on the Savior channel. That's right. Now, first, I have to apologize. I'm very sorry for telling you that cringeworthy joke, but it had to be done to set the stage for what I'm about to tell you. Now, first, let me just say, if you ever see someone out there in the world, okay, who wears, unironically, a t-shirt that says, I'm a gamer, not because I don't have a life, but because I have many. Well, if you ever see this, my sinners, I want you to do this, okay? Find yourself a plastic bag, find yourself some duct tape, and just simply bag the person up over the head. Just a few rounds of duct tape will do, and you will be doing the world a great service, okay? That's all I have to say. Now today, my sinners, that's right, I have some amazing content for you today, because I want to talk about when games actually used to be good, when games actually used to be cool, or maybe you're just gonna say, Savior, what are you, a man-child? Why do you care about this old game when we can play Fortnite on our phones? Why do you care about Ratchet and Clank? It looks like a game made for babies. Well, let me tell you, Sonny Jim, this game is far better than Fortnite. It's far better than any game that has recently come out in the last 10 years, if you ask me, okay? Ratchet and Clank is one of the best video games ever, okay? Now, in this video, I want to be talking about the first two games, Ratchet and Clank 1, Ratchet and Clank 2, and I guess a little bit about the third one, but I really want to be talking about why Ratchet and Clank was so amazing. First, I need moisture. Moist. Moisture. Now, this isn't just nostalgia speaking, okay? I did play a lot of Ratchet and Clank when I was a kid, okay? I do have fond memories of this game. This is pretty much my childhood game, okay? And I'm sure for many of you it might be similar, okay? Because a lot of us were brought up on PlayStation 2. PlayStation 1, okay, or maybe the Xbox, I don't know, maybe Halo was more your jam. But for me, Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, these games were so pivotal. Pivotal? I don't know if that's a word, but hey, I'm dyslexic, so I'm gonna roll with it, okay? The reason why I love Ratchet and Clank, okay, isn't just because of my childhood memories. I remember when I was a little young Sonny Jim, okay, I would go down at 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up early. I don't just sleep in like I do now because I'm a lazy goddamn YouTuber, okay? No, I would wake up so early in the morning and I would run downstairs. I would make myself a little blankie, a little pit of despair, and I would just, you know, encase myself in a cocoon of blankets and a beanbag, and I would just play Ratchet and Clank for hours on end, okay? Now you might say, hey, that's a pretty sad childhood, Sonny Jim, but no, actually, it was the best, okay? Because Ratchet and Clank is an amazing game series. So the reason why I love Ratchet and Clank so much is because it still holds up today, okay? First of all, it was in the times when games weren't oversaturated. It wasn't an oversaturated market. You know, gaming was still fairly niche, and I'm not saying that as like some kind of hipster. You know, I don't care if anything's popular. I just mean that developers weren't huge and they didn't just care about making money. Obviously they wanted to make money, but they also made games because they wanted to make games and they wanted to make something really cool and unique and creative, and Ratchet and Clank was so creative, okay? Now, a lot of people compare Ratchet and Clank to Jak and Daxter, and lots of people prefer Jak and Daxter, but for me, I loved Ratchet and Clank way more, okay? And the game was just so good. Ratchet and Clank 1 was perfection, okay? So, the reason why it was perfection isn't just purely nostalgia. It had amazing level design, okay? It had such good level design. I remember, you know, just entering a level and feeling absolutely lost, and I still do to this day, okay? It's not like was just purely nostalgia. no, these levels were actually good. So if you don't know anything about Ratchet and Clank, which might be possible, and if you are, then I highly recommend you go play it, okay? Basically, Ratchet and Clank 1 was a platformer with shooting elements. Ratchet and Clank 2 was more of a third-person shooter with platforming elements, okay? And there were a lot of these 3D platformers back in the day, okay? So to really make it stand out, you had to have a really interesting, creative, you know, brand or lore or universe or game world, whatever, okay? Ratchet and Clank was so amazing because it was such an interesting take on the sci-fi genre. It was done in this really satirical, kind of self-aware way that not many games had done before. You know, it wasn't always breaking the fourth wall, you know, but it was self-aware enough to make jokes, but it was also taking itself serious at some times, but most of the time it was just trying to have fun, you know. It felt like a comfortable experience playing this game. It really felt like you were going on an adventure when you played Ratchet and Clank, okay, and that is purely because of the level design. You would enter a level which is pretty much linear, but it does have different branching points you can go and explore. There are always little hidden areas that you can discover, and then the game rewards you for discovering these little areas, okay? What's also so great about Ratchet and Clank is not only are there these secret areas that break up the level and you can go and discover it yourself, so it really does give you the sense of discovery like you're on a new alien world because there's different branching points, okay? There's also all these different mini games, okay? So it's not just, you know, exploring and whacking stuff and shooting stuff and platforming, which is already interesting as it is. There are so many little mini games in these games, like skateboard racing or hoverboard racing, or where you have to drive these hover cars. All these different side objectives made the game so unique, like the Galactic Arena battle mode, which was so cool, which made you, you know, fight hordes of enemies that would basically level up your weapons and just, you know, reward you with money. There was in-game currency, there was no real world currency. I know, crazy stuff, right? No microtransactions. The characters were so well written, okay? And, you know, they actually had a character arc, and, you know, Ratchet was actually kind of a bit of an edgelord, like myself, and Clank was more of a, you know, the brainy and, you know, he wants to do the right thing. Ratchet was more about just looking after himself and seeking fame, seeking attention, all that kind of stuff. And the Ratchet and Clank universe is so good because it's all built around this future and this sci-fi universe where everything is hyper-capitalistic, which is pretty much the day and age that we live in now. Not so much back then, but now it's basically just feels like a sick reflection of our world. But everyone is super hyper-capitalistic, and, you know, no one does anything for free. There are these mega corporations that own the world, you know, very similar to the modern day age now with, you know, Google and everything like that. But back then, you know, as a kid, I didn't really think about it too much. I just enjoyed it. But, you know, everything was hyper-capitalistic. No one did anything for free. There is this currency called bolts that you just collect, and you have to use this currency to buy pretty much anything, all these megacorp weapons and stuff like that. It was so cool, and I just love the satirical approach to capitalism. And, you know, as a young person myself, when I played this game, it really did make me think about this kind of stuff. So it was, you know, such a great game because it really made you think, it made you care about the characters had good story arcs, they weren't just, you know, best friends straight away, not like in the reboot version, which is absolutely terrible. They butchered Ratchet and Clank. You know, they actually slowly built a relationship, you know, like good cop and bad cop kind of relationship. You know, like I said, Ratchet was more edgy, Clank was more smart, and he wanted to do the right thing. You would meet all these wacky, zany characters. They were all animated so well. You know, I don't care about all these remasters, okay? Because they did do a remaster of Ratchet and Clank. You might know about this on the PS4, and they're going to do another one on the PS5. First, let me just say, I'm not a fan, okay? Because they pretty much butchered the whole game. They butchered the characters, they butchered all the great animations and everything that made this game so good, okay? And the future series of Ratchet and Clank isn't that good as well, okay? The original 1 and 2 are the best Ratchet and Clank games in my opinion. 3 was where it started to slide off a little bit, but 3 was still good. But the future series was when it really fell off a cliff. But like I said, what made this game so good is just for world building, for level design, for characters, for unique weapons, the way you would handle combat. One was a lot more tactical because you actually had to think about how you would use these weapons because you weren't overpowered. Two was a bit more of a heavy shooter because you were a bit more overpowered with your health and with your abilities and stuff like that. But both games were so enjoyable because the storylines were so good. And you know, basically in the second game you would play as kind of the bad guy for a little bit without realizing it, which just draws on the whole theme of Ratchet and Clank, which is about mega corporations and everyone being hyper capitalistic and just caring about profit and making money. And you know, they would have all these satirical advertisements going on all the time that really make you felt like you were actually living in the Ratchet and Clank universe, which was so cool. And the best thing that I loved so much as a kid was in between missions, okay? You would go from planet to planet, okay? That's how the structure of this game worked. You know, it wasn't just levels and you would just have a loading screen like most games nowadays because they're so lazy. You would have an interactive little, you know, ship, kind of like Destiny, okay? You would see your ship move along through space, and yes, it is just a cutscene, it's actually just hiding a loading screen, but it would make it feel like you're really going on an adventure, you're really traveling to all these different worlds. It had a lot of great ideas for its time because you would actually backtrack to different planets, which might sound kind of boring, but actually it was so great because areas would be locked off, and later on in the game you would unlock something like a new gadget, a new gun or something, and you would have to go back to that planet if you wanted to see what that hidden area had for you. You know, if you had gravity boots, if you had magnetic boots, whatever, and there was an area in a previous level, a previous world, you would go back to that, and then you would discover even more stuff. It was so good because it really did feel like an adventure. It wasn't just a linear game, although it was basically a linear game. It made you feel like you had choice, which was so cool, and the characters were so relatable and charismatic that it really made you care about the game. Maybe you just think, Savior, you're a man-child, why do you care about this little baby game? But no, okay? This game was why gaming had such great potential in entertainment, okay? And it still does, but I just feel like it's lost the plot a little bit. But Ratchet and Clank is such a shining beacon of why games are so amazing, okay? And it still holds up today, it's still so great. There are these ship battles that you can have as well, where you're actually in your spaceship. It just gave you so much to do, so much variation, so many interesting mechanics, so much interesting characters and story and lore, and all these things just came together in such a tight and great package that made Ratchet and Clank so good. And that's why I love it so much. I just wanted to gush about it today. I wanted to talk about something that really just made me happy and something that I love so much. And I hope that you enjoyed this video because of all the, you know, just the love that I have for this. I just wanted to make something positive and just share something from my childhood that really was just so good, okay? And I still love it to this day. And, you know, honestly, I think if game developers made more games like these and actually, you know, built something that they cared about, games would be far more better. And I just wanted to talk about one of the best gaming series. I just wanted to talk about Ratchet and Clank and how amazing it is, just because of the level design and, you know, the way you would go from quest to quest, how it made everything feel impactful. You know, it really made you feel like you were progressing through a story, through an adventure. It never made you feel like this was just filler. I don't know what I'm doing here, you know, why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve? Why am I trying to do this just to, you know, buy this new item? No, it always had a purpose within the world why you were doing something. All the locations were new. It wasn't just reusing stuff. And it was just such a great time, and I loved it so much. And I just wanted to gush about something that I really loved and cared about. And I hope that you can appreciate the positive vibes, and maybe you can relate if you have something that you love a lot as a child, because being a child is so magical. That sounds a little bit weird. Come to my little savior shop and I will take you. You know, being a child though really is magical because you just get lost in something, and when you already have a crazy imagination as a child and you're playing something so imaginative like Ratchet and Clank, it was really like being transported into a new universe because everything was done so well. You know, everything was polished. It ran at 60 frames per second on the PS2, and it was just such a great time. I loved it. The story, the characters, everything about it. The platforming really did test your skills. It was actually hard as well. It didn't just hold your hand. There weren't these endless tutorials like you see now in modern day games. It would actually just, you know, expect you to use your brain. Even though this game was pretty much designed for children, that just shows you what kind of world that we live in now. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it. I hope you enjoyed this video, my sinners. Let me know if you played Ratchet and Clank, or if you haven't played Ratchet and Clank. I would highly recommend that you do so, because you will be missing out if you don't. Play the original, don't play the remaster, for the love of Christ. And yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today, my sinners. That is why the Ratchet and Clank games are so special. That's why I love Ratchet and Clank, and that's why the Ratchet and Clank games are so special and amazing, if you ask me. And yeah, let me know your opinions down below in the comments. Let me know something that you love from your childhood. And I'll see you in the next video. Have yourselves a great day. Much love to you. And please support me by downloading my music. If you enjoyed this video and sharing this video around, I would highly appreciate it. Have yourselves a great day. Bye bye.